Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about AI agents, because if you've been kind of tuned in at all to what's been going on recently in crypto, AI agents have been going absolutely crazy. There obviously I think is a little bit of hype behind this, and a little bit of frothiness potentially, but I think given kind of the paradigm of what AI agents could be and what they could do, it's maybe not overblown, right? I still do think we potentially have a long way up to go from here. We will go over kind of the overall kind of crypto market cap for AI agents. We'll talk a little bit about what that could look like, what we could maybe see out of the overall AI agent market cap, kind of in the height or the peak of this like bull run, assuming we do have a blow off top, that type of thing. A lot of potentially interesting things going on there. So anyway, let's go ahead, dive right in. We'll talk a little bit about, we got a lot to cover today, so we'll move pretty quickly through stuff. Starting out at crypto bubbles, we can see a pretty green day on the market. However, though, pretty interestingly, we are seeing some red bubbles from both virtuals and AIXBT over the past day. Some of the few red bubbles as we are seeing kind of in the overall crypto market, a little bit surprising. I mean, they have run very hard over the past several weeks, so maybe not necessarily too big of a deal, but we are starting to see the kind of rest of the market catch up or even kind of outperform some of these at least larger AI tokens. But we're going to go talk about some of the smaller ones again, how we can find some of those 100x gems, things like that. I've been doing a lot of research recently trying to figure out kind of what's real, what's not. There, in my opinion, has been kind of like a lot of fakers coming into AI agents, just because I don't think frankly really anybody understands AI agents, what they truly can do, what's not really quite capable yet, things like that. And so I wanted to kind of take a quick look at where can we find some of that information, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, moving on, we can see on the virtuals price, we did see a really strong pullback to the downside, and then we have seen a pretty strong bounce. Looks like we kind of were maybe following this like level of support somewhat closely, not exactly overall, but potentially we do continue to see a further move to the upside. The green lines are kind of more the major supports, and then the blue lines are some of the more minor supports. Obviously, we're kind of down lower than where we were a couple weeks back, but this could potentially be a good thing. And I actually plan on creating a video here in a couple days from now discussing why potentially we need to get 100 virtuals tokens, just because we could be seeing some really ridiculous stuff coming out of virtuals. And so again, we'll, if you're interested, just like and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell just so you do get notified when I do release new videos. I will have that be coming out in the next couple of days. So if you are interested, like I said, like and subscribe, follow, stay tuned, all that good stuff. Now, moving on, if you are also interested in trading, virtuals or anything like that, Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of that stuff, feel free to use my link to BTCC in the description below. They are doing that 10% bonus on first time deposits, in addition to extra bonuses of up to $10,055. So a really good deal. Lots of really great offers here. They're willing to throw a ton of money at you to come over and trade with them. Been around for a while, have a ton of options, very flexible on leverage as well as no VPN or KYC. So, a lot of different options there. Like I said, if you are interested, just check the link in the description below. Moving on, I want to take a look at the total AI agents, or the top AI agents by market cap, I guess I should say. We can see that the total sector has a market cap of about 15.8 billion. Some of the larger ones here are kind of more of like the overall like marketplaces and protocols rather than the actual individual agents themselves. We can see as we kind of move down the list here, we do see some of these more like actual like individual agents that are working and things like that. Still some of these other things that are not necessarily, again, they're more like protocol level type stuff. But what we can see is, a ton of different agents, all of them actually really kind of relatively small. This is where things can get actually a little bit difficult, is because you can see basically between about, other than like excluding AIXBT, basically between like 700 million and like 20 million, really going, like if we look even like sub 100 million, we can see, there's just so many different AI agents. This is really kind of like the kind of the gold rush. Everybody's trying to make an AI agent. Everybody kind of understands the potential power that we have here. The mind share has gone absolutely crazy. If we look at this next tweet, we can see that the DeFi, this is not necessarily just AI, like the overall AI agent space, but this is talking about DeFi essentially using AI agents. Think about something like Sequoia. We've talked about that before in the virtuals protocol. It's had 100x mind share in just 13 days. So this DeFi type of narrative has kind of popped up out of nowhere. I'm a little bit cynical, thinking that like it's kind of meant to just pump tokens that may not necessarily be super valuable, mainly because DeFi doesn't need AI. different from like the normal DeFi, because in my mind, at some point in the future, like that's just what DeFi is going to be. Is it's just going to be AI agents doing things. That's kind of the whole basis of crypto. In my opinion, the kind of natural evolution of DeFi is using AI agents. So this to me seems a little bit like semantics, again, trying to draw views, trying to sucker people into buy more, potential Fugazi projects, potentially things like that. But anyway, going back to kind of the top AI agents by coin, we can see tons of different things here. We've got like Gecko. You can see a ton of these are by virtuals, but like Gecko is like an investing one. There's a ton of these in here that are like very investing focused. Let's see if I can find a couple other ones just super quickly. Gecko I know is a very small one. VADER is one that's more of like an influencer personality type of thing. I think it does a little bit with investments. Eliza is kind of like the back end, or like the functionality for AIXBT as I understand it. If we continue going up here, Game is kind of the base that kind of runs most of these virtuals AI. AIXBT is another one that's kind of more of an influencer. AIXBT again, kind of more focused on investments. A lot of different like things going on here within the AI agent ecosystem, which is pretty interesting to see. I do think like this could, especially if we see a really, really strong bull run. I mean, I think it's very, very easy that we could see the total market cap getting to like 150 billion potentially, maybe even more. I mean, we could see some really ridiculous movement out of AI agents just because of the potential power, right? AI is pretty easy to understand kind of from like a wider ecosystem. I think people understand AI agents, the narrative or like the sell on that is pretty easy. So I could see the market cap for AI agents doing just absolutely mind-blowing numbers this run. And with that, obviously, the whole entire market's going to 10x, which means theoretically, if you put your money into anything, it's on average going to 10x. Now, of course, this isn't like exactly how that's going to work. We're going to have some that maybe go down 50%. We're going to have some that 100x. We're going to have some that 2x. We're going to have some that 50x, right? It's going to be very, very variable. But at least on average, it's kind of a rising tide lifts all boats type of situation. So we should see a lot of projects do very, very well. Another thing, if you are interested trying to figure out some of the best ways to find AI agents, kind of get your bearings, a lot of that type of stuff, I would say X is a really, really great place to kind of go. We can see here a post from HC Capital, a pretty like comprehensive overview of AI. We can see AI agents, DeFi, GameFi, DePIN, meme coins. Again, all of this related to AI. We can see AI agents is kind of the biggest one that's being focused on here. We can see some of the larger ones. Again, some of these larger ones, maybe some of them potentially have 100x potential. There's a couple in here that I do think potentially could, but then there's also some of these that I think are going to be largely more of like a flash in the pan more than anything else. Then we can also see AI DeFi. We talked about VADER. We can see VADER in here, AIXBT being another one. These are both, in my opinion, kind of more like influencers just because they're automated Twitter accounts essentially, but they do talk a lot about various crypto projects and have some relatively interesting takes. Like I will say, kind of in like a TLDR, I've obviously seen a lot from AIXBT, Gecko, VADER, Grift is another one. I've seen a lot from a lot of these. DEAI is another. They've got like some pretty interesting takes. I'm not going to say like they're like true alpha bots and things like that. I don't know that we've really found anything like that yet, especially since all these have such a big following. Remember, part of the whole thing with alpha is like it's one of those things like people know before everybody else. If everybody knows it, then it's no longer really alpha. And so, I don't know that we're totally there yet, but some of the takes that they have are pretty interesting, honestly. And it's a lot higher quality, I guess I would say, than what I kind of expected otherwise. Also, we can see, GameFi. I think AI and gaming is a really, really interesting proposition. Crypto gaming is one that I think kind of makes sense, and also AI within gaming and kind of merging and kind of meshing all of that together, I do think makes a ton of sense overall. We'll see kind of how that ends up working out. We also have DePIN, meme coins, infrastructure, blockchain, other things like that in here. And so at least in my opinion, I do think there's the possibility that some of these could see 100x, but realistically what I'd be looking for here is like look into some of these. Like if you're interested in DeFi, like look at kind of what all these are, what they do, how they work, work and then try and find things that maybe aren't listed on this list. Because if they've made it on this list, you know, maybe they're successful, but they've probably like they're seeing a lot of eyes, right? And so that the kind of like hidden gem, if it was a hidden gem, it's no longer hidden because it's here for everybody else to see. So just kind of bear that in mind as you're going through and doing some research. I would say use these as maybe like a pointer. Again, kind of like exactly like my videos. Use my videos as a pointer, but you shouldn't be using them as a basis to make your investment, just because a lot of people can see. You kind of have to pull a lot of different parts and pieces from different things and kind of use your intuition and your own kind of expertise to make a decision there. And so we also can see there's a lot of people posting some really great information on like virtuals, on the state of AI agents. We can see this one's like a very like AI agent heavy overall, not focused on any particular ecosystem. This one, Graham, if you're interested, I'll actually like and retweet. This guy actually posts some like pretty interesting like daily updates. It's very like in the weeds and specific to virtuals. So again, if you are interested in the virtuals protocol specifically, might be a really great option to follow here, because we'll kind of go through some of the highlights here, but he talks in very strong detail about kind of what's going on. Obviously, we've got the like overall what we've got going on here. This is mind share for virtuals, market cap, a lot of that type of stuff, AI agent total market cap, virtuals market cap, a lot of that stuff. Really interesting to see what's going on here. The mind share is the most important thing. Really pretty impressive mind share overall. But what we can see is, you know, we're going through and seeing, again, this was posted 47 minutes ago. So, you know, very fresh, hot off the press type of stuff. We can see here first AI agent Dota 2 live stream. Pretty interesting. You know, I think some of these again are quite gimmicky, but it's really kind of limit testing and seeing what's useful, seeing what's a product market fit, seeing what gravitates to people, what sticks with people, a lot of that type of stuff. Same here, we can actually see, you know, an interview with the virtuals co-founder. So if you want to learn a little bit more about kind of what's in their head, what they're thinking, a lot of that type of stuff, you know, here that is. But there's a whole bunch of stuff we could see, you know, talking about Sequoia, what Sequoia is doing, a lot of different things like that. Pretty interesting to see AI agents kind of out doing their own thing, hosting spaces, growing their accounts, things like that. Really quite nuts. We can see 21,000 followers here on Sequoia. And if we go through, we got 19 kind of like steps to this thread, right? So there's a lot of different things here. We've seen a lot of talk about virtuals airdrops. This is a really interesting thing that we have going on. This is something like, in my opinion, that like virtuals airdrops could be something that makes people hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, because like this is something that is very early. People don't really understand what it is, if it's valuable, why it's valuable, all that type of stuff. And usually it's those types of things that are valuable, right? Right now, everybody on the planet has an airdrop farming course or a class, stuff like that. Because of that, and because they've been so like commoditized, the value obviously is going down, because everybody and their brother is farming Scroll for their airdrop, or Eigenlayer, or whatever, you know, insert blank here. Somebody's farming that airdrop and they've got a guide and all that type of stuff. With virtuals airdrops, this is a new space. Nobody really knows what's going on. This type of thing is, in my opinion, where you could see some really staggering returns. But again, maybe not too, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point. If everybody knew they were going to be valuable, everybody would do it, which then makes it less valuable. So a lot of different things going on here. I'm not probably going to go through the whole thing just in the sake of brevity, but like I said, I did like and retweet this. So if you do want to like take a closer look into this, I do have my Twitter or my X in my YouTube description below. So if you want to check this out and read it in detail, I would recommend it. Really interesting stuff. Again, this guy posts, I believe, once or twice daily. So if you're looking for some of that like fresh off the press type of stuff, this is a great place to get it, at least in my opinion. Now, moving on, I want to take one last look at what we're seeing out of the virtuals protocol, because the virtuals protocol has done something very interesting, and I think this is something that could see the virtuals price absolutely rocket. Now, maybe it's virtuals price, maybe it's virtuals agent price. I think it's probably going to be some combination, but what we can see is they've got these post bonding taxes, and they're actually creating like an allocation for that. So you've got the sentient agent taxes, 30% of that goes to the agent creator, which I think is really great. They don't have to hold a large amount of the supply anymore to actually get compensated fairly, which I think is cool. 20% of that is agent affiliates. So I'm not exactly sure, you know, how they determine agent affiliates, if that's part of like the contract address or handed out like via or decided via like the sub DAO. I don't know exactly. And then obviously 50% going to the sub DAO. This seems like a pretty decent like layout or how to like split those fees. So really, really interesting thing. This is very new. And so this is obviously showing us that like the Virtuals protocol is always willing to like adapt and kind of be flexible to what makes the most sense based on what's going on in the market now. So I think this could be really, really crazy because Virtuals has been doing this like buyback and burn with some of these some of this tax revenue as well. So again, you know, potentially pushing the Virtuals token deflationary, which again, I don't think I have to explain why that would be a good thing. Obviously that would be a very, very good thing. So a lot of these really interesting things going on. So it's definitely a really interesting and crazy time to be a part of like this AI agent landscape. It's very fast moving. It's always, you know, there's always something new to learn one day to the next. So you really have to kind of be on your toes if you want to be successful in it. But I do think there's plenty of opportunity to find a lot of success here. So hopefully you're kind of seeing that, you're finding the value from these videos. If you do, please do give me a like and a subscribe because it really does help me out. Also turn on the notification bell for more information. I try to give just kind of some overall views of the crypto market, both kind of macro as well as micro. There's a lot of different things you can do within crypto. I'm interested in a lot of different stuff. And so I kind of jump around it and talk about a lot of the different things that I'm super interested in. AI agents is one that I've been interested in for a little while. And so now that we start to see a little bit of this take off, you know, definitely diving in and seeing kind of what all of these interesting and various things that we can do in the ecosystem. Also, if you are wanting to trade and trade some of these larger tokens, maybe even just like Bitcoin, Ethereum, do leverage trading, stuff like that, you can feel free to use my link to BTCC in the description below as well. They are doing that 10% bonus on first time deposits. So basically 10% free money if you want it. Go on ahead and get signed up there. And then also if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, anything like that, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a really great way to do so. So thank you guys for tuning in and we'll see you in the next one.